Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our January meeting. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you've got a good Christmas and the New Year. George, do you want to open the public session of our meeting?
Yes, I'll just give an update on the work to be done on the Edward Symonds Monument. I've held a meeting with the Vicar and the Sedgemoor District Council Conservation Officer to discuss the way forward. This is in two parts, the first being the specification for the work to be carried out. The Conservation Officer has gone back to make final alterations. I'm waiting to hear from him. I did present a proposed specification, but there are minor tweaks that are required, so it's gone back with the Conservation Officer. The second part is the tender procedure. We have agreed that any query arising in following the tender system will be dealt with as follows. Any church matters, i.e. the setting up of the work, to be sent to the Vicar. Technical matters regarding work to be done, the Sedgemoor District Council Conservation Officer, and any day-to-day matters, G. Brown. As the Parish Council are more experienced than me in the tender process, I would like them to publish the tender documents and to be responsible for their distribution to 3 nominated firms. I will be responsible for providing the clerk with the necessary information. We cannot go for a grant until we have 3 quotes, but at present we've been promised £2,520 out of a budget price of £4,000 plus VAT. So that's the latest. I'm waiting to have the agreed specification back from the Conservation Officer, Sedgemoor Conservation Officer. Then I would like your permission to pass the documents on to the clerk for distribution to 3 firms. Right, thank you.
Are there any questions of George at all in relation to this? I think it does throw up some particular problems which probably we need to discuss in our formal meeting, i.e. what is our position on this tendering, who places the order, are we going to legally commit ourselves as a parish council to this project and become responsible, if you like, contractually for the work. So I think there are some things that we just need to thrash out, but probably in our formal meeting, unless you'd like to discuss them now through George.
There's not an agenda item for this, actually. Okay. So, in fact, we do not have an opportunity on the agenda as it stands to discuss anything to do with Chester. So it's a matter for you, really. Anybody who you want to ask. George, questions?
John?
Yeah, George.
Yes.
What do you estimate the final bill will be inclusive of VAT? Because you've got £2.5 grand.
About 4,800.
Including VAT.
VAT, yes.
So you need another. You could need another £2.5 grand.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Have you any ideas on that?
Well, as I say, it is my intention to go to, in fact, Viador for the amount between the 2,500 that I've got and what comes out of the tender process. But as you say, yeah, the tender process, I'm pretty sure, will be about £4,000 plus VAT, making 4,800.
Viridor are a little bit backward, but coming forward now because the system is changing.
I have spoken to a young lady and said, is this the sort of thing that they would support?
Well, yes.
And she said yes.
Good.
And but the trouble is, it has to be done on the computer, which is a computer system.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But I mean, they didn't get any money out of Viridor for the church, for the roof.
How much were they asking for?
Well, frankly, they asked for too much, but I mean, that's an estimate.
Yeah. Hopefully ours is a more manageable figure.
Are there any other gift aiders that you have, that you can approach? Because there
There are a lot. English Heritage have given a computer list of where to go, sort of thing. But
well, Garfield Western, I mean, I've done this on a number of occasions, getting quotes. But you need to get a list of those people who can go, and then you've got to get the application sorted out. But somebody needs, that's you probably have to do that.
well, I was hoping that the chairman, being as he had done it before,
I see. Well, I think one, we need your specification and an outline of the scope of works, and then we'll draft a letter. All my point, fellow councillors, is that if we enter into a tender process, it's on behalf of Brentnell Parish Council, and then if we commission this work, we are in a contractual situation with the provider, and we will need to have all funds in place before we proceed. So really we're in a difficult situation, because we have to get the prices, then George has to come up with the money, and that's going to be his next main step. So I think we've got to help him get through that step so that he knows what he's looking for in terms of money. So whether we then proceed in a contractual relationship is entirely up for the council to decide how it goes forward.
Well, I think just to follow on from that as well, there will be the VAT issue that will need to be sorted as well.
Absolutely.
Which is obviously we can claim that the VAT if it's our project, and if it's our project, it's our. So if we were to take on the chest in the same way that we've taken on the war memorial, saying that in effect we're taking on it for the future, then we could reclaim the VAT.
Right.
But if we're not taking it on ourselves, we can't reclaim the VAT because it's not our bit of kit. And I know certainly I've heard through the grapevine that the auditors are clamping down a lot more on parishes now, because a lot of people have been using parish councils in effect to avoid VAT, and they're clamping down to make sure they don't do that anymore. So it's something we can do, but it fits into the same sort of comment that Colin was making, that if we accept this as our project and our chest tomb, then we go ahead with it on that basis. But I mean, that's either that or we give a grant and we are away from the process.
One of the things when we do a VAT reclaim is that if it's non-standard, non-operational as far as the council is concerned, they would ask for details of how we've come to own this project. That's the thing that the Inland Revenue may well ask us, and we have to have a question that we can answer. Because if we don't have it, then frankly we're actually in breach of the rules and the law. So,
And of course, the other thing is, as far as the war memorial is concerned, I mean, the VAT involved in that's like £100. So it's not, it's a minor project, although it was a very significant project as far as the village is concerned.
So are you agreeable then that we help George in this process by George providing us with all the details, and then we head out for a price, and then at least George knows what money he's got to go and find, and it'll go from there really. It's all about money.
But going to the price, and George is getting the quotes, is he not?
No, we are getting the quotes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, that's what this is all about. We are getting the quotes.
And then
George.
also getting the money in.
Yeah.
So,
Unless you say, no, it's not going to be a parish council.
Well, I thought George would probably, and it would not be that difficult for George to get the actual quote, so that there will be a final sum which needs to be found. And then, if we're going to help, we can certainly help on applications for grants. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to help on applications for grants, don't it?
If I can just reiterate what I said just now, I feel that the council has more experience in going to tender than I do. I am quite willing to give the clerk the information that I have, which is necessary to go to tender, but I would have liked for it to have gone through the council.
But if I'm going to do the tendering, which I'm very happy to do, it needs to be on the basis that the council is taking ownership of it. I can't do it any other way. I can't do it if the council don't own the project.
Who owns the tomb now?
Nobody really, because it's one of those things that the descendants of the family are responsible for the upkeep of the tomb, or for any grave. But being as they married late in life, they didn't have any children anyway. So you're at this position that the church authorities say it's nothing to do with us, it's to do with the relatives of the people buried. And of course there are no relatives left, so it just dies.
George, how far are you off with presenting us with the specification?
I'm very close. As I say, I had a meeting Monday, and I've got a copy of what we discussed Monday, but it then came out there were little things that needed altering, so the conservation officer was quite happy to go away and make his amendments to it. And then the idea was that, in fact, I did phone him up and said that when he's finished doing it, give me a ring and I'll go straight over there and pick it up.
Okay. Fellow councillors, I would suggest that we let this specification come through and then we'll have a look at it again, having talked about all the problems associated with this. Have a look at it in February. Once we've got your spec, once we know who you're going to go out to, who you want us to go out to, and then we can decide. And I think you may well start to put some clearer thoughts together around who you're going to apply for grants for, because this is, John, something that we said we would support, but not necessarily
Well, we can help
get
on
involved.
applications for grants.
Okay.
We have experience around us.
Okay.
So,
Right,
Is that okay, George?
Yeah,
Thank you. Okay. No, you're okay.
I just wanted to
Okay.
make a noise.
Thank you very much for your efforts. Thank you,
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
okay.
Right, that closes the public session. Let's open our main session. Good evening, everyone. To receive apologies.
We have apologies from Nigel and Warwick, both of whom are working on this particular occasion.
Are you happy to accept those? Sorry, Bob.
In terms of the decorations, or do you want to do the apologies first, sorry?
No, apologies,
Yeah, sorry.
please.
Yeah.
All the, apologies for Warwick and Nigel. Is everyone happy to accept them? Yes, thank you. Can I just welcome Councillor Gilling, who's come to us this evening as well. I'm sorry I haven't welcomed you. Beg your pardon. And it's nice to see you. Thank you. Receive declarations of pecuniary interests or personal prejudicial interests. Bob?
So I was too quick off the mark last time. It's the normal planning to avoid predetermination, membership of Sydenham County in terms of personal interest, but also on the second planning application, the one that's 00031, I need to declare it pecuniary because it's pretty much our next door neighbour. We were notified of the application, so I'll get out of the room on that one.
Okay, thank you. Any other items under 2? Okay. You've all received a copy of the minutes from our December meeting. Are you all happy that they're a true record and that you're happy that I sign them?
Yeah, I'll propose that.
Proposed, thank you. And David, not second. Thank you. I'll sign those anyway. Is that okay? Let's move on. Planning, applications for consideration. Our first one, okay, Bob, 0719 0030.
Number 30, we don't actually need to respond. It's something called a non-material amendment, which means that what's happened is the applicant has gone to Sedgmoor and said they want to make some minor changes which fall within the original planning application. application. So we don't actually, as a council, need to discuss or debate it unless we're very, very seriously concerned about any of the issues that you have within that non-material amendment. But the fact it's non-material means that effectively Sedgemoor would accept those changes because they don't fall outside of the original application. So
I thought it was quite important to actually do talk about this, albeit briefly, is that it's going to be one of the first of the new generation because this is under policy D9 and it's a self-build proposal. So they've already been agreed that they can build a house on their own land. So now that they're actually going to go into creating their own driveway so that there's a vehicle access, they're going to take some of their all-weather arena menage away so they can create this. And that they have been approved for windows, doors, porch and a fence. So there is, like I said, there is material changes. They're not massively different. But if you are going to create a home for yourself, that was the original. And this is the revised. So there's an extra window on the bottom. There's now a porch rather than just a doorway. So it's not just little things, you know. There's building things going on, but nothing that would inhibit any of the neighbours, nothing that would cause anybody any distress. On the portal, nobody has actually made any replies, and it hasn't been given out to any of the agencies either, because it is a non-material amendment. So I just thought it would be interesting to just look at that, you know, briefly for what it is.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to have to respond to that then. It's just
We're not requiring a response.
Okay. Thanks, Andrea. That's very
That's
good.
strong.
So shall we carry on to 0719 0031? Erection of two-storey extension to side northwest and rear northeast elevations.